Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm really excited to have with me Ryan Spencer Cook from the Ace Frehley and Gene Simmons bands. Of course, we'll spend a lot of time talking about his time performing with Gene, as well as performing with Ace, including on the new Ace Frehley album, Origins Volume 2. Ryan will also share with us a story on how Desmond Child had a hand in helping shape his career. I thought that was a really cool story, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. I'd like to thank Ryan for spending over an hour with me talking everything Kiss, Ace Frehley, and Gene Simmons. I had a lot of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. Now, without further ado, let's get started with my conversation with Ryan Spencer Cook. Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. I am super excited to have with me Ace Frehley bandmate. You guys know who he is. Say hello to Ryan Spencer Cook.
Hey everybody. And Mike, let's just start by saying I do love your shirt. Life is good.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
No matter what anybody says about 2020, you and I are both smiling right now, and I see you've got guitars behind you and
Absolutely.
good stuff, and you see guitars and stuff behind me, and you're wearing a Life is Good shirt. I'm wearing an Aerosmith shirt, so
life is good.
I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Happy.
And so speaking of being happy and 2020 being a good year, even with everything that's going on, I'm going to start off by congratulating you for having the track on the Ace Frehley album, She, right? So talk about it. How did that come about?
Let me show you something first.
Go ahead.
Where is it? I happen to have it right here.
Nice. I love the album cover, by the way.
Yeah, this one is the, I'm not even sure what color this one is. This is that one that kind of does the bleed from the silver.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
very nice.
It's great. It's an LP.
Mm-hmm.
It's gatefold.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Madison Square Garden. It's got Ace in these classic Kiss costumes, outfits, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. Believe it or not, I actually have listened to the record.
Me too.
And it's funny because E1, Ace's record label, did a deal, and they've been really, really nice to us.
Mm-hmm.
And they did, in fact, send us copies of the record.
Nice.
Right?
Deservingly so.
But I will tell you this. Before release day on September 18th, I did this, Jeremy did this, and Philip did this. We all ordered and paid for copies of the record because the label being as kind as they are, they gave us a disc and some albums. We want it in every color and that kind of thing. But more than anything, man, I was just happy. I don't think I've ever been happier purchasing an LP or an album because this is the first LP I've ever been on.
Okay. Wow. I didn't realize that.
When I was in Hair of the Dog, LPs and cassettes were non-existent. It was CDs only.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's a real exciting moment to have your first record released. But to be on an LP, this is just amazing. And it's a little cooler for me because it's not just being an LP. It's not being on an LP with a guy from Kiss.
Are you a vinyl collector?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you got the vinyl, did you put She on first or did you start with song number one?
Nope, dude. I went exactly for the song I'm on. I'm not too proud. I will tell you this though. The label sent out, and you may have gotten it, Mike. The label sent out a media blast before the record came out. Mm-hmm. Did you get it?
Yes, I did.
So you were able to download.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I started Good Times, Bad Times, and went clear to Sheep.
Same here.
Multiple, and really, really happy with it and enjoyed it. But no, man, when I got the vinyl, I went to side track.
Right. I would do the exact same thing if it was me on the album, so I totally get that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Now, you guys recorded that, if I'm not mistaken, back in January, right?
We did. We were the last song recorded. Mm-hmm. I'll call it what it is. I think it was an afterthought. It was definitely not the 11th hour. Mm-hmm. Being on tour with Ace the whole time, I honestly remember one of the first time I heard some of the tracks from this record. We were at an outdoor gig in Kentucky, sitting backstage together, waiting for a storm to pass. Right? The show had already been delayed an hour. Tuck Smith and the Wild Hearts were on the bill with us. Poor guys didn't even get to play, and we were all sitting back, hanging out together. Ace showed up. We're still delayed. He's like, "Hey, you want to hear some of the new record?" He played us Robin Zander doing 30 Days in the Hole, and he had the track of Jumpin' Jack. And so that long ago, we heard it. Nice. And he'd been working on the record. He wasn't touring and everything. And then we started playing She live. Right. Yep. Along with other Kiss classics, and classics with a K.
Of course. No other way.
We were doing Watching You. We were doing I'm on the spot now, so I can't remember. But anyway, She was one of them. And I got a text from Ace early January. And our last show with him last year was December 15th. So then we were off. And he said, "Hey, I want to add this as the bonus track. What do you think?" I'm like, I can't. We can't be ready soon. We were ready. Right. Can't send it to us soon enough. And that's how it happened. So we were the 11th hour, 12th track. It's listed as a bonus track. And man, how lucky are we to be added on there? I'm just thrilled.
Now, was Ace the one that picked She? Did you guys? Yep. Was there a talk of any other song, or was that's it? It's She.
Nope. He said, "I want to do this. Will you do it?"
Okay.
Of course we'll do it. And you know what? Man, it had been going over so well live. That one just had a thing. I remember like the night after we played Joe's in Chicago.
Okay.
Right. That was the last show last year. Huge show. God, it was so great. Right before Christmas time, and we were just all talking, going, "God, that song just always feels so great." And then I started getting all these notifications from people via social media that Ginger from the Wild Hearts had shared our performance that night before on Twitter.
Okay.
Us playing She, going, "Jesus Christ." He's like, Ace's band is just so. Number one, I'm a big fan of his, so that's for selfish reasons. I was real happy, but it also just confirmed to all of us that there was something about that song live, the way that we all did it together with Matt and Ace and Ryan and Phil and Jared, and it's just awesome.
And to me, the reason it's a great choice for you guys is you, Phil, Jeremy, great harmonies, great vocals, and that song just plays into that perfectly. And I know when Ace brought you into the band, that was something you always used to talk about. And I remember seeing you guys on a TV show doing New York Groove, and you guys are doing the background things, New York Groove, and I was like, damn, that's cool. I haven't heard it like that in decades live. So to me, it's a perfect song for you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And something that's funny, because like on that, that thing, you never heard that a lot. And that was something that happened both with Gene and Ace, is that we were proud of, was that we were able to recreate studio recordings like they were meant to be, because, and this is not a takeaway from Kiss, it's a credit. They would record rhythm guitars and then lead guitars, sometimes as a live thing, sometimes as overdubs. What happens in translation is when you go to play it live, Deuce is a perfect example. I don't know if you remember, but on the first Kiss record, you listen, there's a harmony solo going out. Harmony, two-part with the rhythm going under it. You can't find a 4-piece Kiss lineup that can do that whole thing. So when we got, all of a sudden you had the dual harmony at the end of Deuce when we did it with Gene, and everything. And it's fun to recreate that stuff, man.
Absolutely.
We're just, like I said, just lucky, fortunate guys, man.
Absolutely. So like you said, you've got the album, you listen to it at first, not the LP, but the download tracks, you listen to them in order.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite besides your song? Put your song to the side. Do you have a favorite?
Absolutely. You can't get I love Robin Zander, and I love Humble Pie, and I love Humble Pie because of Kiss.
Okay.
This is not a lie. I heard about Humble Pie because Paul Stanley used to talk about them all the time.
Nice.
And knowing that, if you listen to Live at the Fillmore, or if you listen to the King Biscuit Flower Hour, there's a couple of different shows from King Biscuit, because there were different shows.
Yep.
But Paul was very, always paid respect and tribute to Steve Marriott, saying, I got so much of that evangelist preacher kind of thing when I was alive. And man, you can hear it. And I don't know if you ever saw this. So that is my favorite track.
Right.
But there's a thing where Paul was asked to go through and break down different Kiss songs and talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
And he listed about when he wrote Lick It Up, that he took a humble pie approach to that. And the minute he said that,
Mm-hmm.
and you go listen to the song again,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you can totally hear Steve Marriott doing that,
Right,
man.
right. Mm-hmm.
The delivery, the way
Mm-hmm.
Paul did it,
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love Politician.
Okay.
Man, I really love Ace's delivery on Lola.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nobody
Me too.
sings like Ace.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I say this in the most respectful way in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's a stylist, I think, more than a vocalist.
Agreed.
If you compare like Freddie Mercury
Mm-hmm.
to Bon Scott, they're so different.
Right. Agreed.
And Freddie was such a technically educated, trained. I'm missing words right here, but just a very trained, but also very natural talent. He
Mm-hmm.
had this thing that Bon Scott couldn't do.
Right.
But Bon Scott's delivery was so good, and the thing was, they were both such fans of each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And something about Ace, when you hear Ace, it's like Ace couldn't sing Bohemian Rhapsody,
No, definitely not.
right?
Mm-hmm. Right. For sure.
But hearing Ace pick songs that he's good at,
Mm-hmm.
he's really good at doing that.
Mhm.
And there's just something about the delivery on Lola
Mm-hmm.
that just makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think
Right.
it's so cool.
Right.
And I really like that. If you ask me tomorrow, I'll probably have a couple different songs that are my favorite, because that happens to me with a lot of my favorite records.
Of course.
I have a song each day.
Yeah. I think the one that surprised me was Good Times, Bad Times, which I told Jeremy. I spoke with him last week, and I told him that's my personal favorite. And when I heard that Ace was doing that, exactly what you just said, I'm like, ooh, he's going to sing Robert Plant. All right, this ought to be interesting. And his vocal delivery of it, I thought was great. I think the recording is great. I think Jeremy did a great job on the solo. So I know it's the lead track on the album, but for me, I was like, yeah, that's good. That's better than anything on Origins Volume 1.
Okay, yeah, and you know what? He just, like I said, to Ace's credit, man, he stayed within his wheelhouse, and I think people that do that are really, really smart. It's like, know what you're good at, and recognizing what you're not as good at.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you pick something that you're not good at? And he did great on Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
He did great on Cream.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's great, that version. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. He
Yeah.
did a really good job, and I'm happy for him that it turned out so well.
Absolutely.
I really like it.
Now, obviously, there's no touring, unfortunately, right now. But
Not yet.
have you guys spoke at all about potential touring? And do you think any of these songs would make the set list?
Your first question, we have spoken of potential touring.
Okay.
You do. That's absolutely not up to us at all, the band.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So everything that I'm going to tell you is hearsay and pretty much hope on my part.
Mm-hmm.
That's Ace and his agent. And everything, like you said, as everyone did, got moved to 21. I've heard that we're supposed to start April.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I'm fingers crossed that it starts April. I'm not withholding info or anything. I just don't know. So I'm not trying to be vague or something, but I really don't know what city.
That could change before we hang up on this call. Everybody realizes that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to keep fingers crossed for April,
mm-hmm.
and and hang on for that.
Right.
And I'll tell you this: wherever it's at, I'm looking forward to it.
I think all the fans are, but I'll say this. I know originally there was a few shows that were announced for August, if I remember right. One was in Pennsylvania, not too far from me. It was like a 5-6 hour drive. And my first thought was, great. And then my second thought was, Ace isn't a young guy. Is this really the best interest in him from a health point of view? Forget selfishly what I want. Is that really best interest for Ace?
And you thought the exact same thing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right.
And here's the deal, man. I'm not a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no 20-year-old kid like I was when I first really dove into this.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that being said, is the majority of the bands that you and I like
mm-hmm.
are in that same situation.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
Gene just turned 71 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Alice Cooper's no spring chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Daltrey and there's no spring chicken. Pete Townsend, Plant,
mm-hmm.
all my heroes.
Right.
They're all in the same place. So I'm just really hoping that, we get to see everybody again touring, and then we get to tour again with them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. What surprises me now is since, there's not touring, I've actually heard Ace doing some press saying there's already talk about Origins Volume 3, another studio album of new material. So has he spoke with the band at all about new material or anything like that yet, or it's too premature?
The only thing he's spoken to us about, and it's been via text, is, he just got to move to a new place in New Jersey,
right,
and he's putting a home studio in. So he actually sent a video of the open space with his phone one night. It's going to be the studio. So I've heard more about that. I don't think you're surprised at all to hear he's already working on the next one, because have you noticed he never really stopped? He's never really stopped working. He loves making records.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing what he's done the last 10 years.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And I love it. So no, he hasn't mentioned that to us. And you just reminded me, I only answered the first part of your question a while ago. Yes, I totally hope that there's some songs off this record that we do live. And I don't see why not, because I feel like it's being really well received.
Agreed.
Kiss fans being one of them are a fickle bunch.
Really?
And I've seen, as much bad as I've seen good on comments about just the organization in the world of Kiss in its history, not just Ace or not just Peter or Gene or Paul or whoever, and I'm happy to tell you that I'm just overwhelmed. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with Ace. I'm so happy that people are liking it.
Right.
What Ace.
Yeah. No, I agree. And
it's cool.
To that point with the fickle fans, I've been on the last 8 Kiss cruises. You've been there multiple times, right? With either the Big Rock Show, with Ace's band. 2018, you played with Ace. And to me, I was on that boat, and those shows were incredible. Here in Darklight, here in Torpedo Girl, Two Sides of the Coin, Save Your Love. You opened up with Save Your Love.
Opened with Save Your Love.
Exactly. And I was like, this is great. I get home and I see some of the comments online. Ace didn't remember all the lyrics. I'm like, so what? Who cared? In that moment, it was awesome.
I get it. And you know what? It's I have no problem with that. The thing is, the one thing, and you and I talked about this before, is there's a lot of negative talk out there. It has nothing to do with Kiss.
Of course, yep.
And I'm talking about social media in general.
Absolutely.
I've made a conscious effort to never chime in on anything negative, because I don't want my space to be that way. I try to not be that way. I don't like seeing people treating each other that way. But, so there's a lot of stuff that I've seen disparaging towards Ace or towards Kiss in general, whatever. Man, that's not my place to comment.
Right.
And if anybody feels like that, man, that's fine. It's like, everybody has the option to continue to watch what Kiss does or not watch what Kiss does.
Agreed.
I'm going to keep playing with those guys as long as they give me the opportunity to do it, and I'm going to smile the whole time I do it.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. The whole time you're doing it, there's always a smile from ear to ear.
My cheeks kind of hurt for smiling.
Absolutely. I was like, now, during those shows on the cruise, I mentioned some of the ones that Ace sang, Save Your Love, Darklight, but you actually got to also sing Getaway during those shows, right? So how cool was that for you?
It's great. And, anytime he asks me to sing, because I get to do Detroit, which is a lot of fun. I did Getaway. Philip did Love Gun. Jeremy did Strange Ways. Matt did Watching You. Ace is really cool about spreading it around. And, and as a band, we get to talk about it and go, you want to do this one? I'd rather do that one. You want to do that one? No, I'd rather do this one or whatever. And, man, I'm looking forward to tell you the truth, Jeremy and Philip and I do a whole pretty much Humble Pie catalog, the residency.
Yep.
I pray to God that we do 30 days, because I would love to sing that.
That's awesome. That is very awesome. So it sounds like then the songs that you guys sing for Ace, you decide between you. Like, it's not like Ace says, Ryan, I want you to sing this one. You guys decide. Okay.
Yep.
That's very cool. That's very
Absolutely.
cool. Yeah. So to me, another one then that sticks out, and now you're helping answer a question for me. I went to the New Jersey Expo, I think the end of 2018, where you guys did the full 1978 Ace Frehley solo album. And I remember thinking at the time, well, Jeremy sounded great singing, what was it? It was one of the songs on the first side, Ozone, I think. And then I think Matt sang Wiped Out. And I was like, well, I always saw you as like the lead singer. I was like, you didn't sing any of them. I'm surprised. But, that I guess it's just what you guys felt worked the best.
And you know what? I am still to this day, after it's all gone done, completely comfortable with that.
That's cool.
Because on another night, I'll sing something and those guys won't sing anything.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And on another night, Philip will sing something and none of us will. I mean, that's the cool thing about it, man. Mm-hmm. You can't play with Gene or Ace and have an ego because it's not about the four of the guys. Mm-hmm. It's about one guy.
Sure.
In each of those bands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about them and supporting them and sounding good for them and everything. Mm-hmm. So if the band ever gets twisted up in any ego BS or something, we're just being disrespectful to the situation and not being cool to Gene or Ace. So no, man, I'm totally fine with that.
Right.
I'm totally fine with it.
Right. And it's cool. It's cool to hear you say that. Right.
The other guys are good singers.
Of course. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's cool to hear you say that. And I'll say this, and I've said it online, I've said it to friends. Those 2017, 18 Gene shows were some of the best Kiss-related shows I've seen in my life. And I know you're saying it's all about the guy, Gene, and you're right. But you guys are the ones that helped pull that off. Because I'm sure I could name a Kiss song right now. You say, yeah, we know how to play that one. Yeah, we know how to play that one. Right? So you guys certainly helped bring that to the table.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you know what the thing was? Me, Jeremy, and Phil became friends because of Kiss, and that's no lie. That's a whole other story in this of itself. But we all three grew up playing Kiss songs, and even though we didn't know every Kiss song, like I'm not really well versed in the stuff that goes Lick It Up through Asylum, let's say.
Okay.
But I bought all the records, I went to all the tours, I know the songs, but I never really sat down and learned to play the songs.
Right.
But I know them, and if he goes, let's do Fits Like a Glove, which we did.
Which you did.
I know it, sure. I'll figure it out. We know the arrangement, do that kind of thing. We can pretty much, if we don't know it this second, we'll have it for you in 10 minutes.
Right. Absolutely.
We can put it quick,
Absolutely. No, that's one of the things I remember because I was at the Nashville Vault experience, and you guys did an acoustic set there. And it was another one of those things where you're pulling all different rarities and stuff like that kind of out of the hat in a small, intimate setting like that, acoustic. If I remember, you guys kind of showed up close to when it was time for you to play. You were coming in from someplace else, right?
It happened. Jeremy and I had committed prior, and that was April.
Yes.
And I remember this, but tour days started coming in, and Gene gets this. We had already committed to going out with Kid Rock.
Okay. That's right, the Kid Rock cruise.
Jeremy and I did. And we're like, here's the deal. Love to do this. We literally landed and went straight to the Gene Vault gig. And I'll just tell you this. If we looked a little worse for wear, it's because we were, because the Kid Rock cruise is a lot different than
I've never been on the Kid Rock cruise, but I could only imagine.
You have a lot of fun. You get really little sleep, and you're screaming all the time. So when you get off, you're pretty tired. Your voice is good. You do it. But that was fun that day. I remember we did Got to Choose and Hard Luck Woman. We even did Beth. Our friend E.T. Brown played bass with us and everything. And a lot of fun, man. Vinnie didn't he?
Yeah, Vinnie was at that one, and I was wondering while you guys were performing if Vinnie would have ever jumped up with you guys and did I wasn't surprised that he didn't, but I was like, oh yeah, he's right over here. I wonder if he'd ever jump up on stage with you guys. Was there
We talked about it.
You did, okay.
And the thing is people don't know. Well, people do know. What am I talking about? People like this is he wrote so much of the stuff. That, especially like on Revenge. Yes. And I remember we were always working up stuff like Thou Shalt Not and everything that we really wanted to do. But yeah, man, we'd have been ready for Vinnie. If he wants to come, we'd have loved it. We'd have loved it.
I figured it was not your guys doing that he didn't come up. I figured he just, for whatever reason, wasn't comfortable. It's his prerogative, right? It's his choice. But yeah, being there, I was like, oh, I wish he would have. I mentioned the '78 show before that you guys did at the Expo.
What was that, by the way?
When was that?
Where?
Oh, Hackensack, New Jersey.
Okay, because I remember we had to go in 2 days before, because the day before we went and they got us some rehearsal space and we went and rehearsed that whole record with Ace.
Right. And to me, I loved it. I thought it came out great. I think Jeremy had told me he was really sick leading up to that show, which I had no idea watching it.
Diabetic.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
I watched him just completely fall apart. Basically just had no energy and just kind of, he was laying on stage during sound check and we're like, this is not the flu.
Right.
Not the flu. And he found out real quick what it was. It wasn't, due to his diabetic, because he's really good about keeping everything in check and all that. And sometimes just the rest versus the whatever's going on and the lack of rest. And he did great in the show.
Oh, absolutely. I had no idea watching the show that he was sick, and I loved the show.
He was cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Man, I got to tell you, my dream still to this day, and this is just me personally, he never told me this or anything, I would love to find a cool theater one night on the East Coast and film that show for 2 nights.
Yes.
And
agreed.
That have a, because the thing that people forget, not just Kiss records, Van Halen records, rock records in the 70s, they weren't all Dark Side of the Moon, man. They were 31 to 33 minutes.
Very true.
So for us to do, for us to do Solo 78, it might be 35 minutes tops. So at the end, then we come back out and we do Shock Me. And we do
Rock Soldiers and right, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
It would be a great night.
Right. No, I agree. I would be the first one at the door if I could get a ticket for that.
The band's ready.
Yeah, I'm sure the band is. Yeah. So to that point, when you toured with Gene, there was, I think over the course of a year and a half, you guys did like 60 or 70 different songs in the set list, which is a Kiss fan's dream, right? I went to 7 Gene shows because of that. What was that?
Changed every night.
Right, every night. And I went to 7 different Gene shows because of that. I drove 2 hours here, 4 hours there, because I knew every night I was getting a different show. With Ace, he doesn't seem to embrace that as much, I guess.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
And I'm, I gotta put it, the one thing is people always want to ask anybody, Phil, Jared, and I, Brent Fitz. Well, not as much Brent and Matt, because this is a unique situation that Phil and Jeremy and I have, because we're the guys that played with both of them.
Agreed.
Brent didn't get to play with Fitz, or with Fitz, that's his name.
With
Ace. And Matt didn't get to play with Gene.
Right.
We did get to play with both. So everybody really does want to know the difference. It's polarly opposite. I sometimes think the only thing those guys had in common is that they were in the same band together.
Probably true.
Right. But the one thing they do have in common is they both treated the three of us like Gene. They just treated us like we were been in the band with him his whole life. And Ace has done the same thing, and they've both been like incredibly kind to us. Now, that being said, you're asking about the stuff. I think Ace just when Ace finds what he feels like works, Ace says that if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And I respect that.
Yes.
It's fine. Gene, we learned that we could kind of throw something at him and he'd be like, "You're crazy." And he didn't. But we would be able to present a lot of stuff. Gene never told us no. Gene would try something. If there was something new we were going to do, Gene would show up at sound check and we'd play. Please remind me, I'm sorry for not remembering. Were you at Cleveland?
I was at Cleveland, yes. I drove 7 hours to see that show.
You had never in your life heard Got Love for Sale live.
Agreed.
Charisma live.
Yeah.
Kiss the original Kiss never did See You Tonight. Well, they did on Unplugged.
Unplugged only, right? Yep. But never in a proper concert setting.
Got Love for Sale, and
I think you did Almost Human that night also, if I remember right.
We did Almost Human.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. And I was delighted because when I was a kid, and I told you my favorite song changes all the time per record, Got Love for Sale for some reason really got me, man. I mean, dug that one a lot. So for him to say yes, major.
And yeah, talking at that show, there's two other things that stick in my mind with it. Number one, if I'm not mistaken, it was the only show you guys opened with Radioactive, which I thought was cool because he did the whole intro thing and then dun, 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 dun. I was like, that's perfect. That is perfect.
Okay, thank you. To this day, I still, and I'll ask him. I'll ask Gene. There's no thing like, oh, please don't tell him. And I can't say that because this is going to be. It's like I never understood why we didn't do that every night because we did the intro and then we go into Deuce.
It made no sense to me. I love Deuce,
but we still got the intro on there. That was great.
Right.
Cool. And we did use that every night. But I looked at, believe it or not, this is pretty cool. Just 3 or 4 nights ago, he copied us all on an email of the video of us performing in Sydney, Australia. We opened Radioactive intro into Shout It Out Loud into I.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which we never done. Go look that up.
I'll have to, I don't think I saw that video.
That is hands down my favorite Gene Simmons band show that we did out of all the shows we did.
Interesting.
That one in Sydney.
Any particular reason?
It was at the Enmore Theater. Really old historical theater. Beautiful, beautiful room. You couldn't fit another person there with a shoehorn. And there's just sometimes those nights when just everything is on. And when I mean everything, it's not just the band.
Right.
It's the crowd and the band. Does the hand in glove thing.
Sure.
I remember all of us, though, because we would always, throw ideas around. And I say always, it'd be like, Gene and I would end up emailing at the last minute after we all talked about the set. Like, okay, here it is. And I remember when he did Shout It Out Loud in the I remember we all, me, Phil, Jer, and Fitz looked at it and we're like, that's weird. Wow. What do you watch it?
Right. Yeah, I have to watch. I don't think I watched that.
I hate. Like, I will never go watch this interview between us.
Okay.
I don't like seeing myself. I'll hear myself. I love that video from Australia.
That is cool.
And Gene did too because he sent it. There was just something that night. And that's not saying I'm not looking for, oh, you're great, you're good. It's just I particularly don't. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Or why did I say, man, that one,
right?
Pretty okay with it. Yeah, I love it.
That's cool. I'll tell you from a fan's point of view. Unfortunately, I didn't fly to Sydney to see that, but I did drive 4 or 5 hours to Lynn, Massachusetts to see that show. And for me, that I put in maybe like my top 10 concerts ever. You had Gary Chacon jump up on stage to do Strutter with you guys, which was awesome. But then you guys that night did It's My Life, one of my all-time favorite Kiss songs, right? So just that, you could stop there. But then you did Are You Ready from the box set. You did I think, that night. You did She's So European. I was like, what the hell?
Pretty sure we did Sweet Pain that night.
I think you might have also. Yep, I think so.
Another really good one of Are You Ready is go check out the Surf Ballroom.
Yep.
Man, that's a good one of Are You Ready?
Yes, I think I have seen that one.
Really, really good.
Yes, absolutely.
Those songs are both from The Vault, which Gene would love to know that we both just talked about.
Of course, absolutely. I've got 3 of them lined up on the walls over here, Gene. I do. Well, because I went to New York to see Peter Criss. I went to Nashville to see Vinnie Vincent. And then I did one on the cruise also. And I actually had a 4th one, but my friend bought it off of me because I don't need 4 of them. So,
I get it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So we're talking about all the different songs. And I've spoke about this with Jeremy. And I've spoke about this with Phil. And anybody, I know you're not going to watch this back. So this is a message for anybody watching this back. I am willing to pay big money to see the video of you guys doing When You Wish Upon a Star.
Is it not out there?
It's not. I cannot find it anywhere. And I swear, talking to Phil and Jeremy, I think they've taken them all down because they were like, no, we don't want anybody to see that.
You know what? I do remember us doing it.
Yeah.
Where was it?
Somewhere. You mentioned Surf Ballroom. I don't think that's where it was, but it was right around that time, give or take like a week or so, I think.
I feel like that had to happen way earlier.
Really? Oh, yeah. Maybe I got the timeline mixed up.
Only reason I say that is because that's when a lot of ideas were really flying around free and loose of what to try and what not. I told you, like, we even worked on Thou Shalt Not and
right,
things like that. I feel like that it definitely was only done once.
Right.
And I feel like it was one of those things in your mind and on paper. It's like, oh, it'll be great. We'll do this. That was a really good idea at the beginning that we were like, we didn't execute it exactly as it should have been executed. And that's the thing, man. We can feel when something worked or didn't work. I will tell you, I'm thinking about it now. I can't really think of anything else that didn't work that we tried, though.
Right. Well, that's a really bizarre one to try to pull off. I mean, come on. That's way out there with guitars. Like I'm trying to even envision what it would sound like. It's like wacky.
That's been weird when we were kids and heard it on the record. It's like, what?
Right. Exactly. But
let alone do it live.
Yeah, so that's my hope that video shows up one day. But, I want to go back to the Cleveland show for a minute. That was the night also Chuck Berry had passed away, right? And you guys did Johnny Be Good, like right there at a moment's notice, right?
Did you see a recent post that I just posted a day or two ago?
I did,
There's a new Chuck Berry, and I did a really short Reader's Digest story of what went down that night. Because Gene, I just happened to be, like we all are looking at the news feed, and I saw Gene pop up in that one clip. It actually was from Gene's page, I think. So I reposted it and shared it. But yeah, man, we were backstage having dinner at the venue at the Agora Ballroom, and we had already sound checked, and someone walked in and said Chuck had just died, and we all love Chuck Berry. We're like, oh man, and Gene's like, we gotta do Johnny Be Good.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that everybody that plays guitar play Johnny Be Good.
Right.
So we figured before we went on stage, and there it was. Right. But yeah, and then not too long after in St. Louis, Gene actually spoke at Chuck's funeral.
Right. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought that performance that night was a great tribute to him.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Man, there was so many good things about Cleveland. Or there were so many good things about Cleveland. Kiss has a long history there. And just being the first of, Paul has toured solo a couple times. Paul did it in the 80s with Bob and Eric and Gary Corbett, that kind of thing. And then he did it again on Live to Win, which I saw at least a couple times. I really loved that tour.
Yep, me too.
And that was probably my favorite. That was probably some of my favorite Paul performances in my life.
Okay, well.
Seeing Magic Touch, and he was in really fine voice. He was just there.
Yep, agreed.
But yeah, man, there was something about that night in Cleveland where this was the first. This was a real Kiss first.
Sure.
And the fact that we were even there blew my mind, because man, I would have driven to Cleveland from Nashville to see that if I wasn't in that band.
No, I drove from New York. I drove 7 hours from New York because I knew you guys did the private event before that with a lot of cover tunes. But I went into that show not knowing what to expect from a Gene solo. So he'd never done anything like this. See,
and that's and the thing was, we always approached everything as a Kiss fan.
Of course.
Well, what do I want to see if I were to go? Do I want to see him just do, and there's nothing wrong with these songs, but do I want to see him the same stuff that he does with Kiss all the time, or am I going to freak out when they open with Radioactive and go into Charisma?
Exactly.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, absolutely.
And that's when I think because Gene first told me when this whole thing was put together, he's like, it's going to be 4 or 5 shows tops. Don't expect anything beyond that. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, fair enough. I was disappointed because I thought this can go around the world. Guess what? It did.
It did.
But I think after that night, and he saw that people really were like, they want to hear "Got Love for Sale," and they want to hear "Almost Human."
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I think he knew all along, maybe, but he just needed to see it, and it was all Gene's idea. Everything was. We just went along. We said yes whenever dates got added. But boy, it was fun because he'd email me all the time, and it got to the point where every day I'd wake up and check my email real quick. There were more dates added, and it just got be really cool waking up every day. Oh my God, be there. South America, Japan, Australia, New York. I mean, we were in a really fortunate situation that we got put in a situation that, as a Kiss fan, that other Kiss fans don't get put into. And there are millions of Kiss fans. And you know what the odds are when you buy a lotto ticket?
Right. Exactly, like a zillion to one, right?
We the three of us bought the right ticket.
Yeah. Well, you guys worked hard for that.
I feel like that. I feel like that.
Right. You guys worked hard for that.
Thanks. Yeah.
So the first time you played with Ace was actually with Gene in St. Paul, Minnesota, right? Another show I flew out to because I couldn't miss this for anything, right? So, and I remember being excited for Gene and Ace on stage, but I remember you guys, like you said before, smiling ear to ear as Ace came, high-fiving each other, like such an exciting night that was.
Yeah. That was the first time they'd been on stage together in 13 years.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I think it was 17 years, actually, if I remember right. I could be wrong.
17? God. Right, I believe it. And St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yep.
At CHS Field.
Yep.
Their baseball stadium. I won't lie to you. We were there that day during, and let's keep in mind also, Cheap Trick were on the bill.
Yep.
And Don Felder. We did a couple songs.
And you played with Don Felder. Yep.
We were Don's band.
Yes. A great version of Hotel California, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah. Xander and Rick came out for a couple songs with Don with us, and then they invited us on a couple songs out with Cheap Trick. So we got to play with all three. But anyway, it's a baseball stadium, and I know you know this.
Yeah.
We were sound checking that day, and I was on stage looking at an empty stadium, and I was like, "This is great, but boy, that's a lot of hoy. I hope people show up." Oh, shit, you were there.
Right, I flew in that day.
How pleasantly surprised were we that it was full?
Yeah.
It was full. Yeah, that was great. And so anyway, yeah, Ace came out, and that was the first time that we played with Ace. We did Deuce, Rock and Roll Night, Shock Me.
I think Parasite was the first song you guys did, because I watched. I was in the front row, so I had my phone like this as I'm watching. And I still get goosebumps looking at that video because it's just freaking amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, see, again, here we are in the really unlikely situation that it's another Kiss first thing.
Right.
Here we are. Because you know what the thing is? Besides Joe Perry playing with Kiss when Kiss and Aerosmith toured together, man, Kiss was very strict about not being a jam band when people got to play with Kiss. There are those, as Kiss fans, you and I know this, and some people, there's really old photos and footage of them playing like an Ace's wedding, maybe.
Yep.
Something like that. There really aren't any jam moments. And then, by the way, that was just those guys. That was Kiss.
Right.
It wasn't, hey, wedding band, can we play with you or can you play with us? It was like, wedding band, get off the stage, Kiss is going to play.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
People don't get to play with Kiss.
Yeah, very true.
And it's not lost on any of us one bit, man. I'm just like thrilled, and
No, to that point when Gary jumped up on stage with you guys in Lynn to do Strutter, I knew that night. I was like, you will never in a zillion years see this at a Kiss show. And we know as Kiss fans, he did that, Extreme did that song on the Kiss My Ass album, right? So I was like, this is awesome. This is great. His hometown, so it was cool for him, great moment.
Pat Badger was with him.
What was that?
Pat Badger came with him that night.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
The bass player for Extreme, Don Bianelli from the Aerosmith camp was there, and everything. And it was just because it's all Boston, and that was fun. But yeah, Gary's, man, all those guys are just so nice.
Absolutely. When you were on tour with Gene, did he ever mention recording another solo album by any chance?
Never.
Darn.
Never.
Darn.
No, but the thing is, you have to just learn to not expect anything and be ready when it pops up.
Absolutely.
A perfect example of that is him telling me not to expect to go on tour.
Right.
And then we just were like, well, what else are we going to do? I mean, we all played with different people doing different things together and separately. And, when stuff will come up, we bumped stuff to do stuff with Gene.
Sure.
Because we just didn't want to not do it. Who would, I'm not somebody come do it in place of me.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Now, what age did you start playing guitar?
I was 10. I've told the story a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Me, when I was 10, it didn't take.
Okay.
Until I was like 13.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The first 3 years were basically just me carrying the guitar back and forth to lessons and nothing happening.
Mm-hmm.
I was a 10-year-old kid that was very, I guess now they call it ADD. Back then I didn't pay attention.
Gotcha. Okay.
I loved rock and roll so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do everything I heard on the radio, but I did not have the discipline to sit and put it to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned a few things over those 3 years. And then right when I got to be about 13 is when I really learned what a power chord was and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a teacher that was like, oh, you know that? Oh, well, we can run with this. And then once that happened, so started at 10, it started to really come together when I was 13.
Okay. Now, I know at one point you and I were chatting online about a month ago. I had done a chat with Desmond Child, and you had said to me, hey, do you know Desmond's actually responsible for helping me in my career? So I got to hear the story because I told you save it for when we chat.
I honestly don't think that you and I'd be talking today if it wasn't for Des.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So here I am in Nashville, Tennessee right now. And I'll do this. I don't want to make it this a long thing because it's, a lot of time.
I'm interested as much as you want to give.
Okay. So it was the early 90s. For some reason, I came to Nashville instead of LA. I didn't come to Nashville because I wanted to be in country music.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with every kind of music in my house. Mm. My dad loved country and big band. Okay, so we had as much Marty Robbins and George Jones as we did like big band stuff like Count Basie and that kind of thing. My mom was way into rock, but she liked to. So mom would literally buy AC/DC records and Journey Escape, and we had Creedence and whatever. She never gave a shit about Kiss, so I got Kiss.
Okay.
My 5 years older, so I learned about Nugent and Aerosmith and Zeppelin from her, so you can see how it all kind of... Anyway, I don't know what made me choose Nashville over LA the first time. It may have been I was chicken shit, I wasn't ready, whatever, but I came here and, started working at I was in the mailroom in a record label, interning. I just wanted to be in the music business. I wanted to be in a band, and if I wasn't in a band at the time making money, I wanted to work in jobs that was involved with the music business so I could always weave it together. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was working at a publishing company as the tape copy guy. Okay. EMI Music Publishing in Nashville. Desmond was an EMI Music Publishing writer living in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. He came New York to LA. When I was growing up in Topeka, Kansas, I first heard of Des when he wrote I Was Made for Loving You with Paul. 80. Yep. And I'm kind of lying there. I heard I Was Made for Loving You. I didn't know about Des. Okay. I learned 4 or 5 years later, that Desmond was on the song, right? Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, I started seeing Desmond popping up on... Desmond really got popular when Slippery When Wet.
Yes.
Right?
Just a little.
You Get a Little Bad Name, Living on Prayer. Mm-hmm. And then Aerosmith wanted him.
Right.
Cher.
Yep.
Alice Cooper. Mm-hmm. He didn't just write for Alice Cooper. He produced the whole Trash record. Okay?
Yep.
I know you know.
No. Please, I love hearing about this.
Yeah, I know this. Bolton, Joan Jett. Mm-hmm. So let's just say that he was fucking huge, right?
Yeah, to put it mildly.
So I'm an EMI. I'm an EMI. I basically look the same way with a little less wrinkles and not as much gray, right? I'm a kid, and I'm working. And the cool thing with the people at EMI is they would let me use the studio in the basement in the downtime to record stuff. Desmond came in. He saw a guy with long hair. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And by the way, Desmond came into town to write.
Okay.
From LA.
Okay, nice. Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? You in a band?
Mm-hmm.
No, not yet, but I want to do it. I'm recording, and so I played him a couple demos. He's like, "I think I have a band for you. What do you think about coming to Los Angeles?" So Desmond flew me to L.A. to work with a band, guitar, bass, and drums that were looking for a singer. And he had his manager coming at the time. He's managing Steve Vai and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they flew me out there, and that's how it all started. I met the guys. We hung out for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the weekend, I got there on a Thursday. I left on a Sunday. And when they took me to the airport on Sunday, we'd already decided that I would be back in 3 months.
Okay.
And I was back there in 2.5.
And what band was that? What was the name of that band?
Me and Hair of the Dog.
It was. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Yep. Nice. And you were with them for like 5-6 years, right?
We did 3 records.
Right. Yep.
They ended up, when I got there, I was still really young.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys were a little older than me, but not so old that they were wise. And we realized that we weren't good songwriters yet, and we had a lot to learn and stuff. The drummer they had, we ended up having to get rid of because honestly, man, he just wasn't good. It was 3 high school guys who moved out to Los Angeles from Detroit, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
As we got better and started figuring stuff out, we figured out what we needed to do and change. So we got a different drummer. We started recording. Everything started actually working. We started actually learning how to write songs and get some good songs.
Mm-hmm.
Got on the radio, got a record deal, and then it happened.
Right.
And it wouldn't have happened without Des.
That's incredible. I never knew that backstory. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I'll ask him. He'll be like,
him and I might chat again in another month or two, so I'll bring it up and see how he reacts.
I was so happy to see that you talked to him because I have I'm grateful to him, and I just have a lot of fun memories about us having fun and about us arguing.
Right. That's great. Well, that's a good person to get under you, helping you out at first.
He's very strong-willed.
Right.
Which I get it.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. So for KISS fans, I think the first time you came really on the radar, though, was with the Big Rock Show, like we said before, like on all the early KISS cruises, right? So as growing up as a KISS fan, I think you had seen KISS a few times in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Tons.
Right.
Between Creatures of the Night up through everything from Creatures of the Night up to everything they did to the KISS cruise, I saw all of it. I can't even, like you, I've lost count, man. I don't know.
For me, it's sad. Creatures is the only tour I never saw because they didn't come to the New York City area, and I was 12. My parents weren't driving me anywhere. But that must have been an incredible show to see.
Not to rub it in at all.
Oh, you can rub it in.
But I know that there's the Destroyer Tour and Love Gun especially. Live 2 is pretty much. Yeah. Right. I think my 2 favorite productions of KISS that I saw live was Creatures and Revenge.
Yeah, Revenge was awesome.
Did you see Revenge?
Yes, multiple times I saw Revenge. Yep.
Me too. And do you remember? So you and I had seen KISS a lot by that point because that was '92.
Yep.
And we'd seen a lot of pyro.
Yep.
We felt a lot of pyro. Felt a lot of heat all through all those years. Do you remember how percussive and huge the concussion bombs were on just like they were really scary.
Yes.
Because you didn't see anything. You only heard the report from it, but do you remember like just getting your fucking chest caved?
Yes.
And I remember all of a sudden being scared because all of a sudden it would just come out of never happened again.
Right.
And their productions are so amazing, because especially this end of the road thing is just it's great. Yeah. The reunion tour production was great, but there was something about that Revenge tour that was very dark, just like the original Destroyer set out to be. Had the City of Ruins.
Yep, that's a great. I never thought of that. That's a great point. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I think there's a huge.
No, that's a great point. You're right.
And thing was,
how did I miss that all these years? Wow. Okay.
Very. Revenge was very. What's that movie that Escape from New York?
Escape from New York.
The Statue of Liberty's falling apart. There's the subway falling apart.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then, 2001. You're on the first KISS cruise. You're on the first 5 KISS cruises, right? As a fan who'd been there all through the 80s, what was that like for you? You're not, at this point, you hadn't played with any of the band members, but you're on a KISS cruise, performing on the cruise. What was that like?
Oh, it was fantastic. Because number one, nobody in the Big Rock Show had ever been on a cruise.
Okay.
And I'll explain how that happened. I was in Nashville doing Big Rock Show, which was, excuse me, I'm joking, never meant to make any money, never meant to go anywhere. It was meant to happen because we got asked to do an 80s rock, because I had this idea of, let's do an 80s metal thing for fun. So we did it, got Paul Taylor from Winger, you know, Jeremy's in it from, from the thing that we do. Doc is my neighbor.
Okay.
McGee. And a friend of mine came to see it. He's like, "You're coming on the Kiss Cruise."
Right. Nice. So I remember after you were on the first 5, for whatever reason, and Six Man likes to mix things up, but you weren't on Kiss Cruise 6. And if you remember, there was like an uprising from all the cruises. Like, it was almost like somebody announced that Kiss wasn't going to be on the cruise.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
No, you're all choked up over this.
No, it was sorry, I was choking. But I do remember that, and I will tell you a couple things. It was great of Doc to ask us. The 6-man crew people could not have been any nicer or more supportive of us. And then, you know how it was. What is it, like 65 countries that come on the?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, we're not exaggerating. That's
no, it's a ridiculous amount, right? Absolutely.
We got so much love from everywhere that we just got asked back all the time. And you mentioned they want to change it up. That cruise that we didn't perform on, Rachel Boland and I from Skid Row were on there doing the rock and roll radio show. We just DJ'd. Right.
I remember. That's right.
We just got drunk and played. That's where Gene hit me up about starting the solo tour.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, that was like 2015 or so. So it was a few years beforehand, huh?
No, here's the deal.
Oh, that was 2016, right? Because it was Kiss Cruise 6 you were on.
So. I remember them because, yeah, man, you got to realize we've done 19 cruises now.
Right, it's crazy.
And they all kind of between Kiss and Kid Rock and Def Leppard and Monsters and all. I just remember the one that the Big Rock Show guys were not on. It was just me and Rachel. It was the Creatures of the Deep.
Yep. Right. Okay.
That's and I got together and he presented the idea, and that was November. He came to Nashville in December. We rehearsed. We were out in January.
Amazing.
No, February.
February, right.
We did that first show, like the corporate gig.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I remember with the cruises, I think it was Kiss Cruise 4. You guys did the Sail Away show, right? And I was just going to say, I love the video. Somebody has a video, it's not mine, where they're watching Paul on the side of the stage as you guys are doing I Stole Your Love, and you're singing it. And he's looking at the stage. You can see the wheels turning in his mind. Like, should I? And he jumps up. And you didn't see him jump up, right? It looked like on the video. And all of a sudden he starts singing. And the surprise on your face was priceless.
I compare it when I tell people about it. It's like, I don't watch a lot of hockey, but I know about it. But when he came up and checked me at the mic, what it's like in hockey, not as hard, obviously.
Right, of course.
With Paul, what we did. But yeah, you know what's even funnier is I know the video you're talking about because it's a bird's eye view, and you can see him kind of back and forth. What's even funnier is we brought Philip on that.
I just noticed that this week for the first time.
Like this one, like Phil's watching something like he's gonna go up there.
Yeah. I never noticed that before because I watch that video all the time. And this week I was watching it and I'm like, that's Phil. Holy shit. Because I knew he wasn't with you guys on the Big Rock Show. So I was like, no, but he's there. That's so cool.
We brought him on as crew.
Okay.
Because we had a couple of spaces for crew. And we're like, hey, can you help out just a little bit? It's like I think Cheap Trick was on there too, that one, right?
Right. I think so. Yep. I think that's the Cheap Trick. Yeah, right. Absolutely. So now with the Rock and Roll Residency, I think you guys were supposed to be doing a show right before COVID all hit, right? There was a benefit concert for Nashville. What's going on with the Rock and Roll Residency?
For the tornado.
That's right. Yes. Yep. For the tornado.
Here's what happened. Philip and I were in Mexico. We were to Cozumel for fun. We were sitting on the beach drinking margaritas. The tornado happened in Nashville while we were gone. Fortunately, neither of our homes were even touched. That's great. Unfortunately, a lot of our friends' places were completely lost. I mean, annihilated. Venues, homes. So we hear about it. We decided to put together a benefit, a tornado relief benefit. A couple days at the day we left Cozumel was the day the whole COVID-19 thing started to break.
Mm.
So by the time we got home and organized a little more for a couple more days, it already became determined that we could not have that show due to everybody's safety.
Right.
And it was still real early on, but the only thing that we had in the back of our minds is that had we done that show and one person walked away from it sick,
yep.
we would have all just been like, that's our fault, because we could have called the show. And we swore, and we still swear, that we will in fact do that show. I just can't let you know when, because we really don't. It would be so unfair for me to go, oh, we're doing it on this date, because man, I'd be making it up. I have no idea.
Absolutely.
I mean, even the tour dates that I see on the calendar for next year that people have rescheduled, I really won't be surprised if we find out that those dates get moved. I hope they don't. But that being said, man, we can't even decide. And I will tell you, people came out in droves. People that we all know, like really big profile people, donating items for the benefit. And my garage is full of them.
Oh wow.
Philip's storage space is full of them. Jeremy's house is, so we have tons of stuff that were donated just for that event, and we're going to do it.
Right.
We have guitars.
Wow.
We have clothing. We have gold records. We have, I mean, everything.
Right.
And it's for that. And, and I feel bad for everything that's happened. The tornado, COVID, everything that's gone on. I kind of felt like when COVID came in, a little bit people kind of forgot about all the Nashville stuff. And those people that were still kind of got brushed to the side a little bit because something else came in. So we're trying to do that show. I don't know when the Res will ever do anything again. I don't know when the Big Rock Show will ever do anything again, if we even do. It has nothing to do with bad blood or not wanting to do it. It has to do with just, fortunately we can say that we went to work with Gene and Ace, and that was the real reason the Big Rock Show couldn't do anything anymore, and the residency. Right. Because the residency used to be every Tuesday night. And then all of a sudden it became once every 6 or 7 weeks because we were gone. It had to be like, well, when are they all home at the same time? And you can't really call something a residency anymore when it only happens every month and a half.
Right. Makes sense. And look, it's totally understandable. I think anybody in life, if they had the choice to do the residency, which is really cool, or to go out with Gene, I don't think anybody even hesitates with that decision.
Everybody understood.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So we still want to do a pop-up show here and there when we can. I hope the next residency show is going to be the tornado benefit that we initially promised everybody.
Now, how is the city since, like you said, things got kind of overtook with COVID, but the city is recovering? Everything okay there?
People, I don't want to like downplay anything to anybody that went through the tornado, because I was fortunate. I mean, I didn't even have like a leaf get moved off my deck.
Okay.
I mean, you can't even. I want to say that what I've seen on the news and the parts of town that I've driven through, I've seen things being cleaned up, and I've seen things being rebuilt, that kind of stuff. But man, I still feel like that everybody that was affected on it is probably still as affected on it today as they were a year ago, because it was just it uprooted their life. Literally.
Sure.
So it looks like people are in fact, I know, doing their best to get back to normal. But I can't speak on anyone's behalf saying how they're doing, because I just think it'd be bad for me to go, oh, they're great, and they're like, I'm still torn apart by this. So I know that everybody's doing everything they can to make things normal and right again because of the tornado, but man, I can't speak for them.
Fair enough. Absolutely. Now, did I see
the whole deal?
Absolutely. Did I see right online that I think it's October 23rd, you're doing a show at the Talisman? So what's that about? Talk about that.
Okay, so
you're smiling from ear to ear again.
Everybody knows what the Talisman are, right?
Yes, I certainly do. You can explain if you'd like to.
So, the Talisman are the little box with Kiss of Superpowers in it, and it had each of their, the star, the lightning bolt, the eye. So anyway, we started getting asked for obvious reasons to do different Kiss events, the three of us, because of our association with both Gene and Ace. But they're like, well, you're not going to be the Ace Frehley band at this. You're not going to be the Gene Simmons band at this. You need a name. You need a name. So I said, what about the Talisman? And Philip was like, wait, but instead of A-N, it'll be M-E-N, the Talisman. I'm like, oh, yeah. That's brilliant. So we started doing little events here and there as that and had a lot of fun with it. And then in the Nashville area, like especially in Doc's neighborhood even, Doc McGee's neighborhood, someone who's a huge Kiss fan had a party and he's in the medical field and everything, so he was adhering to social distancing and the whole thing. I said, you know, we'd like to hire you to come do an acoustic set, the three of you, as the Talisman. And big Kiss fan. So we're like, why don't we call it the Talisman, an evening featuring the music and stories of Kiss and the music that inspired Kiss. Well, then one turned into two turned into three, like bunnies. So we got together with an agent and we're booking it and taking it on the road now. And the shows are going to all adhere to all social distancing rules and guidelines. A lot of venues are cutting down to 50%. They're making, because people are doing drive-in shows now and everything. These are going to be small, intimate events in different cities as the Talisman, and us going around and doing them. And yeah, the first one's in Atlanta on the 23rd.
Very cool.
We're excited. We're going to try and do a run of shows between October 15th and December 15th.
Okay. Very nice.
So they're starting pretty soon.
Nice. Well, certainly I'll say for people to keep a lookout for more announcements from you guys, because it sounds like there's a possibility.
Yeah, and Phil and Jared and I are on social media so much. As far, we're really good about it. You'll know.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, don't you guys also have a new CD?
The Residency does now.
Yes.
Phil first started the Res when I was doing the Big Rock Show. That is a new EP by the Talisman. It's Phil and Jeremy. I know Eric Brinningham's on there. Jared Pope's on there, I think. I think Paul Simmons is on there.
Okay.
And they I think Jeremy told me they've been working on that since either 2014 or 2015. And it was all work in progress because we were always gone together or separately doing stuff. And it finally just came out. It's great. We've done a couple live things where we've played like The Real Thing, and there's another song called I think He's Playing Guitar. It's a really good record. I went and bought it the minute it came out on, you know, whatever the streaming services were and all that, because I want to support the guys and everything. It's really, really good.
Okay.
Really
very cool. And
I think it's been out a few months now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of months, if I'm not mistaken. I just like to make sure that for all three of you guys that we plug everything that we can as people are watching this.
Yeah.
And then you guys also have guitar picks and stuff like that as well, right? Which to me is really cool. It has like the 70s baseball card feel to it.
Well, do you notice what we did?
What's that?
Is here, I'll grab one.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So once again, we kept the Talisman thing in mind. So look at the see the frame around my photo.
Yep.
We each picked a different frame from the original 70s Kiss cards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's beyond cool
like
to me.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they each have 6 different picks in them, and they're like these clamshell kind of case you open, so you get the picks out and you see the full photo. But the back, we did the stats on the back.
Right.
Like this.
Yeah, which is very cool.
So I have a set, Jeremy has a set, Philip has a set. The Talisman Band at gmail.com. If you just email, we've got shirts, we've got the whole deal, so people can check that stuff out. And I have a New Hair of the Dog record coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When's that?
We did 3 records for Spitfire.
Yep.
It's out on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, everything a few months ago, so you could buy the record. And it's a compilation of the first 3 records called Big Bones. Here's the cover.
Very cool.
Okay, so it's been out for a while. We decided, everybody kept asking us about it, so we did a double vinyl.
Oh, very cool.
So that's going to be out end of fall, right beginning of the holiday season. And here's the gatefold cover that's inside. It's a double LP. I know you really can't see it.
No, that looks cool. That looks very cool.
It's really, really good. And it's really cool, and we're happy with it. And we're just doing all different kinds of stuff. The one thing that is going on, we hate not touring. and we're at home. But the thing is, we found out that it gave us an opportunity to actually do a couple different things musically that we wouldn't have actually had a chance to if we'd been on tour all the time.
Absolutely. And you know, kind of bringing this all full circle, when we started talking, you said before Origins Volume 2, you'd never been on vinyl before. Now in 2020, twice.
I know.
That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, you know, one of them being my own band that we worked so hard with. And had we been able to release vinyl back then, we would have. And then the second one, like I told you, just being on vinyl with someone from Kiss was pretty cool.
Absolutely. I can't imagine anything much cooler. I mean, you get to play with them. You get to record. I mean, life is good. Life is good.
Sure. Yeah, life is really good.
You know, that is so awesome. Anything else, Ryan, that you wanted to bring up or talk about, or that you have available for fans?
Yeah, the main thing was the only thing that I wanted to bring up, and I try to every time I talk to somebody, is I know that I'm very aware that a lot of what we're doing is involved in the Kiss world because of who we work with. And the fact that we're such big Kiss fans and everything, I totally understand it and get it. And I just want to let everybody know that we're so grateful for how kind and accepting everybody in the whole Kiss family has been to us, because like I told you before, I do realize that it's a hard nut to crack. It's a hard group to be accepted by. It really, and we owe that all to Gene and Ace, for sure. And we're fans before anything, and we're just super grateful for everybody, like especially you for wanting to even talk to me. You know, we love it, and every time I walk around the house every day and see something that has to do with me and Gene and Ace, or me and Phil and Gene and Ace and Jeremy or anything, if it's a poster or an email or a text or something, it doesn't go by me that you know, this is something that everybody doesn't get to do. Absolutely.
And to me, I think from a fan's point of view, I know what you're saying, obviously because of Gene, because of Ace, but I said it before, I think you guys have earned this spot, and I think it's the genuine fandom that you guys had for the band and the respect that you had for the fans, right? Because I brought up before when you guys weren't invited for 1 year on Kiss Cruise 6 and the uproar that caused amongst Kiss fans. At that moment, you hadn't worked with Ace yet. You hadn't worked with Gene yet, right? You were just part of the big rock show. But people connected to the fandom, the honesty, and really enjoyed what you guys brought to the table.
Yeah, thank you. And you know what? I recognize that too. And again, I was grateful for it. Like I said, to me, that was just a combination of really great people from around the world, including the States, and the great people at Six Man. And it was just one of those things where everything just kind of came together. And, you know, you said it. People recognize the genuine place that it all came from everybody's part, from fans, from rock show, from Six Man. It was all genuine. It wasn't like Six Man tried to shove a band down everyone's throat that didn't fit in. Right.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You know,
that was great.
On the cruises at that point, I used to go with my family. And so my kids were very young at the time. And I swear we'd see Kiss, and I wouldn't see a lot of the support bands because my kids were younger. But we always saw the big rock show because it was like, this is just the soundtrack that I grew up listening to. These are all great songs. The band is great. So
yeah, that's one of the things. I'm glad you said that. That's one of the things we always said was like, people our age especially, this was a soundtrack to our lives, like that really formative part of music. That's what big rock show always was, because we did Van Halen, Judas Priest, John Bon Jovi, Kiss, Motley, Rat. I mean, you know, it was great.
Right. I'll probably get crucified for saying this by everybody else watching this, but on Kiss Cruise 4, you mentioned before, Robin Zander was on. I missed every one of his performances. I missed because I was with my kids, but I saw every one of Big Rock Show's performances.
You know, that's a good dad. That's being doing something with your kids. So that meant that you were doing something your kids wanted to do, and that is the cool thing about the Kiss Cruises, man. They really did make it like a whole family thing.
Yeah.
Like they were very aware of the idea that people were bringing their kids, and you know, being captive. You kind of are captive on a ship.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
There's only some places you can go. And if your kids aren't happy, you ain't happy.
No, absolutely. And I had to pick and choose, but I always felt the Big Rock Show delivered with all the songs that my wife knew, my kids knew, most of them. So I was like, we're not missing these. But to me, that's where it started, and the appreciation for the guys. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, definitely I'll say I look forward. Yeah.
I have one question if
Please.
you don't mind.
Go, please. Go right ahead.
There's a Les Paul up there behind.
Yes.
What can you tell me about that guitar?
Okay, so it's not a Les Paul. Well, I'm going to do my best because I'm not a guitar player. Okay? They're both Epiphones. One, the top one's a Tommy Thayer.
Okay.
The bottom one is an Ace Frehley Epiphone. Both of them signed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm most interested in the top one because this is the first real guitar that my mom and dad bought me. And this is a 1982 Les Paul Custom.
Oh, wow. Very nice. It looks very similar.
It used to be that silver when I was a kid, but look at the
wear and tear.
But I just keep seeing that one behind you, and it sure made me wonder.
Yeah, it's a Tommy Thayer model. I think it was his first one that he put out with his name on it, and I probably picked it up 6-7 years ago. So sadly, I can't play a note. So they look great on the wall, but I can't play a note.
They're good art.
They're good art. It's really funny. Last week I was talking, I had Todd Kearns on and the guys from Minefield, and the second Todd comes on, he's like, "You got a Tommy Thayer guitar? You got an Ace Frehley guitar?" I'm like, "Damn."
I love it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Anything else, Ryan?
No, man. I just want to tell you thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And certainly when the album is ready to come out, the Hair to Dog, let me know. Yeah. I'll certainly help plug it for you, and I definitely look forward to it.
Thanks so much, and this is great. I just love seeing. I'm looking as good as this was. I'm, the only thing that'll be better is getting to see you in person again pretty soon.
I hope so. I really hope so, Ryan.
You let me know.
Absolutely. Oh, I see what you did there. Very good. All right, Ryan, take it easy.
Good to see you, man.
All right, take care. Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank Ryan Spencer Cook once again for joining me and talking everything Ace Frehley and Gene Simmons. I had a lot of fun, Ryan. We'll have to do it again soon. As we discussed, check out all the items that Ryan and the guys have available, whether it's the guitar picks, the t-shirts, or other items. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. Also, I know I speak on behalf of a lot of fans when I say we're really looking forward to that Hair to Dog vinyl release. We'll be keeping an eye out for that for sure. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.